Welcome back from that break. We are glad you're still watching Life Stories. I'm still here with Dr. Besigye. Let's continue with his lovely story. Losing both parents at a very tender age. How was it for you growing up?
Traumatic, as I have said. It was tough. It threw heavy challenges onto our hands that quite obviously we were not prepared for. Certainly I wasn't. We are a family of six, or we are a family of six. One has departed since, our youngest. And I am the second in the family of six. I have an elder sister of mine, and we are 3 boys and 3 girls. We were 3 boys, 3 girls. 1 boy has departed, so we are remaining 2 boys and 3 girls. And when I was completing my O-level, my mom also departed. Happily, my father had left some assets which were generating some income. So we were not, stuck in that sense that we couldn't have school fees, we couldn't have provisions at home. That happily was not the immediate problem. And we were also lucky that one of my paternal aunties, when my mother passed away, had troubles in her own home and had come back to our home.
It was a blessing in disguise for
Absolutely.
you. Yes.
Absolutely. So she was now encumbered with these 6 young people, and she eventually never went back to her own home. She stayed there and became the mother of the home, which was quite helpful because then at least we would leave somebody at home and all of us go to school and be sure to find somebody to open for us when we got back here. It was the grace of God that we remained on course, at least in pursuing our education. In those early years, I would take my younger siblings who were in boarding school to their boarding schools, and then I would also go to my own school. At that time, once you went to A-level, once you finished senior 4, all education above that was free.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So there was no payment of fees in any HSC school. But we also would receive allowances.
Oh, from
Yes.
the government.
Yes, allowance for transport, to take you back home and back.
Yes.
We had large book allowances, allowance to buy all kinds of books you wanted to buy, and so on and so forth. And below A-level, there were bursaries, which were granted by the districts. Now, if you were an orphan, you had, a bigger bursary. Now, if you are a double orphan, you had an even bigger bursary. So actually, when I was at Kitante, my bursary was more than my school fees. So I didn't even have to pay school fees for my secondary school. I had to pay for the hostel, but even that was, because it was a government hostel, it was, I think, subsidized. Yeah, so education was quite affordable at that stage. All you needed to do was to pass your exams.
Yes. Upon free coast entry to Makerere University, 58-year-old Dr. Besigye confesses that he was not as serious as one would assume for most of his time there. To the surprise of his peers, he was able to finish his medical course in time, even if he had earlier preferred to do business.
No, I didn't want to go to campus. So I didn't want to do business at campus, no. I wanted to go to a business school. And I did go to a business school, actually, Nakawa, which was Nakawa College of Commerce. That's what it was called at the time. And it offered diploma certificates, diploma courses, but also professional courses, SCCA, SCA, and I was keen on going into a professional course. And I had wanted to do accounting at that stage. So I wanted to do SCCA. But as it turned out, I wasn't allowed into the course. I had done accounting at my O level, which I had become very attracted to, and I actually did it very well. I got a distinction in my accounting. And I thought I would go straight to the professional course. But the college told me, no, if I want to go to that professional course, I must first spend 2 years doing the diploma. And having gone through the syllabus, I was not persuaded that it was the best way to spend 2 years doing that diploma. I tried to persuade them to allow me to sit for the exams so that then I can proceed and do the professional course. They were not agreeable to that. So it was at that stage that I decided to leave that school and go to do higher education. And it was late now. Schools, HSC schools, A level had started already. I think it was more than a month into the first term. So most schools were already filled up. And I was given a place in Boroboro Secondary School, which is also called Dr. Bote College, which is in Lira. And so that's where actually I went for my senior 5.
That's a difficult time.
Yes, it was, because that time Amin had taken over, and there was a lot of persecution of the people from Lango, where Obote came from. And I also was going to this school after there was an attack on Uganda by rebels who came in from Tanzania and attacked Mbarara and tried to attack Masaka. So the government was very hostile. It was after that that there was a lot of massacre of people from Lango and Achori. And so going to Lango that time, was like going to a war front. I remember my first day to go there, we went by a bus that would cross through Lake Kyoga on a ferry, through Port Masindi, go on a ferry, cross the lake, go through Kabera Maido. Yeah, we would cross at Kyoga and go through Kabera Maido, Doholo, and into Lira. This was something completely unplanned for. I had never expected to go there.
Yes.
But having gone and looking back, I think it was a wonderful experience because it opened, absolutely, it opened my mind to a new environment that was in our country. I was able to make, new friends in that area, and it was, quite awakening because within the vicinity of the school, we are being told, oh, this home, the parents there were killed. This home, people have fled. They don't know where they went. This home. So it started waking me to the upheavals that were taking place in the country at the time. And that was, 1973. So at that stage, actually, I was about to fall out of school and go to do other things. In fact, I had made the decision to leave school and go to do business. Partly, I think, an attraction to what my father was doing, because I grew up seeing my father trading.
He succeeded in his business.
Yeah, in fact, when I was not at school, quite often I would go to his store and, help in calculating the prices of the commodities he was trading in. He had a small petrol station, and maybe that's why I still sell fuel up to now. Yes, so he had a small petrol station where I would go and help sometimes.
Pump fuel in the cars, or
yes.
to do the accounting?
No, because that time there was no electricity.
Oh,
so you had to pump the fuel into the cars. And so, just I think like any other kid, I was inspired by what my dad was doing. But then along the way, one of my cousins who was in business and whom I had joined did not feel that was the best course. And on his own, he went and negotiated for a place for me in Kigezi High School. And that's how I ended up in Kigezi High School, where I did my A-levels for senior 6. I must say, throughout that A-level period, I was really not decided what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to go to the university or not. In fact, my inner feeling was that I shouldn't go to the university. Because at that time, the Amin era had introduced a completely new dynamic. Don't forget that all the Asians had been chased out of Uganda. Their businesses given to Ugandans. Some of these Ugandans who simply had nothing, and all of a sudden they were rich and, flourishing, and there had been some kind of black market that was pervasive. Everybody could make some money through all kinds of black market deals. Either you buy something, outside Uganda and you smuggle it it into the country, or you smuggle something out of the country and sell it across, or within Uganda there were official prices and black market prices, so you could buy sugar from the depot if you had connections, and you buy it, you sell it 10 times more just outside the store. And that went for nearly everything, trade and enterprise.
Boosting business.
Yes, and demeaning education, because all these people who were thriving and flourishing had never been to school. And so in fact, that's when this whole question of Nasomawa started. If I'm so Nasomawa. So yes, so and the people who were educated were actually looked down upon as if they are just yes, and they're just intellectuals, and what does it give them? And in fact, that was, I think, the beginning of our troubles. The fact that corruption of the values of the country. And so that's why I was not sure really whether I should continue with education or not. And of course, there was also the social angle that, I had now had no parents. There were relatives who were saying, you know what, your priority should now be to settle down in the home, get married immediately. Yes, at that tender age. Yeah, many were saying, you need to really settle here, reestablish your father's home, get married, and
being the first son,
yes,
you had to be the example.
And save the home. So there were all these kinds of pressures. I had done sciences at the A level, not so much by choice, but because I had passed sciences better than the art subjects, I think. So when I went to the Ministry of Education to get a placing in HSC, they just looked at my results and said, no, you should, they said you should do physics, you should do chemistry, you should do biology, you should do mathematics, so, because that's what I had done well in. So I said, fine. So I went and did that.
And you're comfortable with it?
Yes, I was. I liked the subjects, but not so much thinking where they led me. And not even so much caring where they led me. I was just studying A level. So at the end of A level, then the question arose of applying to the university for courses. And that was really tricky, because that's when I said, now, what really do I want to do? And I can't say that I was inherently attracted to medicine. I think it was more of peer influence. And happily, I performed very well indeed. And I was admitted to the medical school. And even after being admitted to the medical school, really, I was not sure whether I should go or not. That debate remained in me, I think, throughout almost my entire education. Eventually, with the nagging of some of my relatives, I went, and I was never quite settled even then in the medical school. I was in 1 week, out another week, and at some stage, I really had challenges, again, because of not being in the school for a long time. In fact, my classmates thought I would simply not make it. But by the grace of God, I qualified at the various stages until we graduated. But, that was also a challenging time. This was the mean bad years, 75 onwards. As you may remember, 77, that's when the Archbishop and other people were killed. In fact, my sister had been married to a son of Erinayo Oriema, who at that time was the Minister of Internal Affairs. He had been the head of the police. During Amin's time, he was appointed Minister, I think, of Internal Affairs. And then they killed them one day. Oriema, Luum, or Fumbi, I think, and and it was horrifying, to kill the Archbishop, and terror was spreading all over the place, including campus. We had many campus students who were in intelligence, and intelligence that time did not mean gathering information. It meant being feared. So they would come with pistols in obvious evidence that they are part of the security system. Everybody would make sure everybody sees that they are.
Yeah, you're talking under pistols.
Yes, they are armed.
Yes.
They would have vehicles that were distinctive. At that time, there were number plates that were identified as number plates of the intelligence services. If you had a vehicle with a number plate UVS, that showed this is a dangerous person to be feared. And so there were many such people at campus, and so people would be talking in whispers and fearing, to make any criticism of anything. There was no campus government at that time. There was no election of a guild president, because Amin decreed that he was the only president. You can't have other presidents in the country. So there was no guild president or student leadership at the university, though we had leaders in the halls of residence. But otherwise, as I said earlier, life at the university was
a great experience.
And much, much better in terms of facilities and welfare than certainly it is now. We had, you would only carry your suitcase of clothes. You'd have rooms which are furnished with good beds and mattresses and curtains, and so you'd just bring your bed sheets and make your bed. And
so that decision you took is what determined you being a doctor, right?
Oh yes.
We're going to go for a very short break, but when we come back, we'll find out what exactly he decided to do, whether he decided to be an active doctor or continue with business. Do not go away.